Hey, what's up guys? This is T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode playing Gemstone Legends. So the Gingerbread Village Event 4 is out, and that means if you've obtained all 4 epic heroes, you're now going to be able to fuse Suzetti. So again, the reminder, you do need to get all 4 epic heroes, that is Aoi and Keijo, as well as Elf, and also the last one, Bobby. Get them to level 5. And you need to get them to 5 stars, level 50. And then with the fusion, you do need to spend 20 million gold. So I was farming all day. I was able to get to the 20 million gold mark. And with that, let's go ahead and do our fusion so that we can actually obtain her. Then we can level her up, and then we can put on equipment. And I'll be able to also show her in action and talk about how you can utilize her. So let's get into it.
Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion.
Before we move on to Suzetti, I'm going to give a couple of codes that I wanted to include in my previous videos. These codes will be available until February the 11th. So the first code I wanted to give out is actually one I have meant to give during the New Year's, and that is going to be T-Bone_2024. Go ahead and confirm that, and then you get yourself some event coins and also some gold. The second code that I'm going to be giving out is, again, another code that should have gone out when I did a video for Vulcan, but here it is, T-Bone_Vulcan. Go ahead and confirm that and get yourself some green dust and also a green dummy. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Suzetti. As you can see, she's in my top 5 heroes right now in terms of power, and so she's really actually pretty good. And so if you take a look at her skills, you know, she does inflict vulnerability. Again, this allows you to deal more damage for your special ability. I believe it's a plus 32% to the damage. And then she deals damage based on her health. At level 6, it is 35% of her max health. And then level 1, it's 25%. She also does inflict freeze, which is always a helpful debuff. Always, whenever you can freeze an enemy, it's always good because not only do they lose a turn, they also cannot gain mana during that time. And then the passive ability is one I thought is really interesting. So she does 2 things. One is if you use a special ability on an enemy that has sleep, stun, freeze, or silence, then she'll actually inflict decreased speed. And then if you deal damage using gemstones, meaning you match tiles, and then you damage and you attack one of the enemies that's also affected by either sleep, stun, freeze, or silence, then she also deals damage based on 20% of her max HP. So she does deal AoE damage. There is some issues here though with this particular passive, and that is if you kill the enemy with your gemstone matches, it actually does not attack the other heroes. I've noticed that in my game, in my testing, and I think that this was reported and they're going to be looking into addressing this. So keep an eye out for that. But what I'm going to do is talk about her loadout, and then let's go and do some arena fights. All right. And so the name of the game here really is HP and the balance between HP and critical damage. Of course, you want to get your critical rate to about 85% or higher. For critical damage and HP, this is the balance where I feel that as an HP-focused damage dealer, you don't really have an opportunity to increase your health during the match. And so what you could do is you could try and get your health as high as you can, but then you also want to make sure that you can increase your critical damage to a good amount. So if you, as much as possible, try to get your health to 50,000 or higher, and then, you know, get as much critical damage as you can. If you need to bring it down a little bit, so let's say 48, 47, like sacrificing a little bit for more critical damage, you might find that you end up dealing more net damage, but don't sacrifice too much of the HP. It also helps with her survivability. My defense is a little bit low on the 2,300 realm. Ideally, if she could get up to about 3,000 or 3,500, that would help a lot more with survivability, but I haven't found that to be an issue. So gloves are going to be my critical damage, and then I basically focus on health as the main stats for both of them. And then what I've done is actually I managed to get a couple of really good substats here for critical rate. So you can see I have 21% for critical rate and then 28% here. So that allowed me to expand on my other gears where I can try and maximize either health or critical damage. Now, because my my boots and my armor already have HP focus. I don't need to look for that. So I'm just really looking for a critical damage boost wherever I can. And these are the ones that I can always replace once I find a better gear. So these are not critical, although I did put in a cursed set just so that I can get my accuracy to above 100%. Right? She does inflict freeze, which is really nice. And so that is something that you'll want to try and get to if possible. But I didn't focus on that as a primary stat. All right, so first let's talk about what happens when you use her skill without actually activating any of those silence or freeze. You can see that she doesn't trigger anything. But there is a bug here that I was talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and silence everyone. And then I'm going to go ahead and activate Suzetti's skill again. So with her ability now, she should activate her skill and then trigger decreased speed on everyone. But currently what happens is if you are able to kill an opponent with your skill, then the passive does not get triggered. So I think this is a bug that they're fixing. So now that I've shown you that, let's go ahead and see what actually happens. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into an infernal level here so I don't kill the opponents right away. And so again, let's go ahead and trigger silence on the opponents, and then we'll go ahead and use her ability. And so now you can see we froze the opponent, so that's part of her active ability. And then the passive ability, I actually ended up getting slow on them. All right, so now I'm going to show you a situation where it is now Suzetti's turn to actually attack. You can see that she does not have her mana built up yet, but what you can do is you can actually go ahead and use an ability to get either silence or stun or anything. And now I'm going to go ahead and attack. And when I'm attacking, I'm also going to make sure that I can use, I'm going to be targeting, somebody that has one of those debuffs. And I'm also going to make sure that I can actually get enough mana, okay, so that I can actually use her skill. So now that I've done an attack, you can see I also did an AoE attack on top of that. And then what I could do is I can go ahead and get additional damage by putting, decrease defense on, and I'm going to go ahead and do another attack, and you can see I was able to deal another 35,000 on top of that. So we're going to jump into an arena fight here, and one of the teams that I think works well with Suzetti includes heroes like Omura, who can decrease defense, Guan Yu, who can inflict silence and also have the cape if you have it, the Vulcan as one to dispel opponents' buffs, as well as our own debuffs, and also give us mana. He's just a really good all-around hero to use. And then Kafusa is actually one of those less, I guess, a little bit under the radar type heroes, where he is a really good good hero to invest in, especially for arena fights. So let's jump into this. We do have a couple of red opponents that should help us out. And so let's see if we can take advantage of that. All right. And so the first things first, we do need to pay attention to the fact that our opponents do have, a couple of heroes that can really give us a lot of trouble. Okay. In that there is Vepris that's going to be able to do a lot of Assassin's Mark, and then they do have also an opponent, a hero that is going to do AoE attack to basically trigger all of those Assassin's Marks. All right, and so she's probably going to get enough to trigger them all, but then luckily she won't have a way to really take out all of my team, because I was able to make it so that they don't actually get get AoE attacks on my team. So the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try and clear out some of those Assassin's Mark. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and trigger silence on them. Okay, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and trigger silence, and I'm also going to give myself more mana. All right, and so the first things first, I can go ahead and use my ability on Vepris, and then I'm going to go ahead and now move over to attack Mrs. Claus. Okay, because now what I can do is I can try to get mana at this point. And so we're going to do just that. Okay, so that's going to be 1. I'm not going to be able to get enough at this point, unfortunately, but you can see I actually deal quite a bit of damage there. And then I'm going to go ahead and use Omura to then take out Mrs. Claus. And then the next one I'm going to focus on is going to be Scorpio. And we're going to do just that. And then what we can do now is, because there is still silence on, I can go ahead and, do another critical damage, almost 30,000. She can do quite a bit of damage, really, if you have her equipped well. So you can see I'm not using Harm right now, but I do have the Gauntlets relic on her. I mentioned it when I did a video on her before, in that because she is in the Empire's faction, that you're going to be able to equip that gauntlet on her, and it's actually a really good investment for that. So let's go ahead and take out Streetbog, and then there you go. So relatively, I wouldn't say it's a difficult match there, and you can see that Suzetti actually does really well, especially against red opponents. She can deal incredibly good amount of damage, and then you can sort of see how you can use her passive ability to your advantage by getting more mana, attacking an enemy, and then use the gem matches to get yourself the mana you need to then take out another opponent, while using the passive ability to use the AoE attack on the others. Like you can really do quite a bit there. So anyways, I really enjoy using her. I've used her quite a bit, and I found that she has made my arena fights a lot easier. And so I think that she is really well worth investing in, and especially since there is an event going on right now where part of the requirements is for you to ascend Suzetti, and also to awaken her, and to also use the tomes on her ability. I think she's worth toming. Okay, so once again, if you just kind of take a look at her, she's worth toming. I've maxed out her abilities, and I think that it's been good. The +1 to mana gain does help as well, because she's only at 19 right now, so getting her to 20 is going to make it a lot easier to get the mana that you need to attack. So anyways, that's going to be it for me for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think, and good luck on the event for the one that's going to be coming up in about a week. I'll come back with another video on the event when it starts. So that's going to be it from me for today. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye now.